probably already know that every champion in League has a bunch of skins. Well, most of them anyway. Riot plays favorites sometimes. But what you might not know is that these skins have their own stories and alternate universes, kinda like those in Marvel or DC. In this video, I'm gonna explain all of Morgana'S skins, including lore and little details, and then I'm gonna rank them by power level. No more stalling, let's get into it. This skin, before the rework, was technically canon. It showed Morgana running a bakery in Nexus, but she was really bad at it, and burned everything all the time. These days though, it's obviously not canon anymore, and it's just one of those chef champion skins. This one takes the last spot on the list because she's literally just a really bad cook, that's it. This was one of the Halloween skins from 2016, launched alongside Bewitching Tristana and Little Devil Teemo. That's actually his face in the cauldron in the splash art. A fun little Easter egg was that in the pre-rework recall, a frog would fly out of a black hole, get caught by Morgana, and then tossed into the cauldron. That's actually the same frog we see get sucked into the black hole in Darkstar Thresh's Control 1 animation. Riot definitely did that Easter egg on purpose. Honestly, I wasn't sure where to place this skin because these Halloween skins are all kinda silly. If you look into the lore of this world, they're basically witches going around cursing people, turning them into frogs, doing party tricks, and spooky stuff, you know? And every skin has a goofy little description like, oh, this person got cursed and turned into a bird, or this person drank a potion and cloned themselves. It's all super random and hard to judge, but I think it deserves a lower ranking on the list. However, what really made me hesitate was the fact that Little Devil Teemo is in the splash art. At first I thought it was the same universe as this skin, but it's not. I double checked the wiki to make sure and confirm that Little Devil Teemo belongs to another universe entirely. Just to be clear, I'm not talking about them being in the same skin line, I'm saying it's not even the same universe, even though universes can include multiple skin lines. If Morgana actually had the power to summon champions from other universes, that would really bump her up the list. However, I'm pretty sure it's just a reference right through in there, and they aren't actually serious about it, so I'll leave this skin on the lower end of the list. Bewitching Morgana is above the bakery one though, cause at least she can turn people into frogs, and not just bake burnt cookies. As for the prestige version, it's basically the same thing. The only difference is that this outfit was made to win a Halloween costume contest. Fun fact, this was the first ever prestige skin to be released that wasn't from an epic skin line. This skin pairs with Kael's Battleborn skin. In this universe, they're like Norse Valkyries. Morgana was exiled from the tribe by her sister and plotted revenge against her and the whole clan. Before the rework, this skin was called Fallen Angel Morgana. She looked way more like Kael back then, blonde with white wings, to show how she was right after she stopped using her wings in the old lore and became the Fallen. But after the rework, it took on a tribal Viking vibe. This skin line really leans into the whole Norse Valkyrie thing, and they were definitely stronger than regular humans. That's about all we know though. What we do know is that it takes place in an alternate version of the Freljord, and the champions are a part of one of the tribes. That's it. Obviously, Kael and Morgana aren't regular tribe members, they're battle spirits, but still, I'm not gonna act like this version of Morgana is super powerful or anything. This skin is a super clear reference to La Llorona, the famous folklore legend from Latin America, especially Mexico. She's basically a bride who cries over losing her husband and haunts the living. It doesn't have much to do with the movie The Curse of La Llorona from the Conjuring universe though. Even though the name and the story are kinda similar, it's its own thing. This skin dropped back in 2016 to celebrate the launch of the Latin American North server, which is for Central America and Mexico. That's why she has exclusive voice lines in the Spanish dub of League. Mis pequeñitos, ¿dónde están? It's said that everyone who encounters her is never seen again, but there aren't really any more details. Since she's a classic ghost type, I'd say she's about on the same power level as your average demon in League, like Tom Kench or Evelyn. That's why she's placed here. Snow Moon skins are kind of the opposite of Blood Moon skins. They're like the good side that fights the demons threatening the world. Morgana here is the High Priestess and head exorcist of Snow Moon. Basically, after Ari wipes the memories of new recruits, Morgana seals their fate, binding their souls to the Order. Interestingly, she's got a red eye in the skin, just like Kain, which has a Blood Moon demon inside him. That could mean that Morgana has some kind of evil entity inside her too. Or maybe she's using it as a weapon since she's an exorcist. Maybe she even made a pact with a demon. Who knows? It'd actually be really cool if she was using a demon to exorcise other demons, or if it was a good demon working with her to fight the bad ones. Either way, the average Blood Moon demon is about equal to the average demon in Runeterra, and since she exorcises demons, she should be stronger than the average one. Since I already ranked the Ghost Bride Morgana at the level of a normal demon earlier on this list, it makes sense that this skin would be placed above that one. Blackthorn Morgana is paired with Viridian Kale, and both are a part of this fantasy universe that got a Lord of the Rings kind of vibe, with elves and classic magical creatures. Morgana is a dark elf from the forest who controls plants and thorns, which you can see in the splash art. According to some Riot writers, this Morgana was inspired by the Morgan Le Fay from Arthurian legend. And yeah, the resemblance is there. She's a forest sorcerer and all that. It's said that in this skin, Morgana suppresses her dark magic, so she's not using 100% of her power. Considering how powerful Morgan Le Fay is in your average King Arthur story, sometimes she's stronger, sometimes weaker. And also considering that she's holding back here, I think this rank is fair. This skin's from the Steel Valkyrie universe. Morgana is a former pilot of those exosuits in that world. She's half human, half alien, and one of her old battlesuits is literally fused to her body. This skin is inspired by Sarah Kerrigan, the villain from StarCraft. If you look at them, they're super similar, especially the pre-work version, and even the English name of the skin, Blade Mistress Morgana. For those of you who don't know, Sarah Kerrigan is called the Queen of Blades in the StarCraft universe. This Morgana seems to use her alien tech more than any kind of magic, which I think is super dope. People always hype up magic and spells, but honestly, tech is way scarier. Like, remember that cinematic with Kale and Morgana? How many nukes do you think they could actually survive? Oh, but Morgana's a goddess. Yeah, I wouldn't bet on her tanking a nuke, bro. Like, I think that applies to most stuff in League. Not saying that this skin has access to any nukes or anything, but her access to alien tech definitely makes her stronger than some of the other skins on the list. Like, if a pilot from a modern military with a jet came into Runeterra, they'd probably solo 99% of it. Tech is just super OP, and I think that's why the skin deserves a spot here, even if some people would probably disagree. The porcelain skin universe is made up of ancient spirits and magical creatures. There are these super powerful porcelain artifacts called zodiac relics, and they're the key to unlocking immense power. Each skin in the universe represents a Chinese zodiac animal, and Morgana embodies the rooster. In this skin line, Morgana is a sorceress who trapped Lysandra inside a vase, but in exchange, she also got sealed inside of a porcelain piece for 1,000 years. Clearly, she's powerful, but how strong is she? Based on the other skins, you might think that she's not that much stronger than some of the other Morganas on the list. After all, the other porcelain aren't really that powerful. Aurelian's the exception, but he's always the exception. Like, in the main lore, Lysandra is already basically immortal. So yeah, sealing her is a big deal, but it's not that insane. Still, the fact that Morgana was sealed for 1,000 years means that the stakes were super high. And usually when stuff has that kind of scale, the characters are strong. That logic never fails, trust me. So she deserves this spot. Morgana's original concept back in 2009 was just to be a dark mirror of her twin sister Kale. That classic good twin, evil twin thing. Back then, they were literally a different race of angel-like aliens in Runeterra, which wasn't even that weird at the time, cause a bunch of old lore had aliens in them. For example, the Darkins were aliens too. Old Malphite was just a fragment of a meteor called the Monolith that gained consciousness through magic. So yeah, aliens were a thing. Since then, Morgana has changed a lot. Her original concept had her using a whip, but after her rework, she became a way more poetic and beautiful representation of justice. And now, she's this character who stands as a foil to her ruthless, inflexible sister. A cool detail, when Riot first started writing their lore, Kale and Morgana weren't supposed to be daughters of an aspect. They were both supposed to climb Mount Targon together, but Riot changed that because they wanted to explore what it would be like for them to be born from an aspect instead. Now, Morgana tries to suppress her divine nature, chaining herself and binding her wings. That's a way different vibe from her original concept. As for power level, base Morgana is still really strong. Like you've seen the Pantheon demon hunters, and we know aspects are way stronger than the average demon. Their powers are way broader and more versatile than Snow Moon Morgana, who just exercises demons. So yeah, this version ranks higher. She's not a goddess for nothing. This was Morgana's first legendary skin, and it's a part of the Coven universe. In this line, Morgana serves an ancient god called the Horned Owl or the Grey Owl, and she fights alongside other witches of the Coven to resurrect the old gods and wipe out the Eclipse Knights, and to take down her sister, Kale, who's the Sun Eater. She's got that dark witch aesthetic, and she turns into an owl in a bunch of her animations, like when she spawns, recalls, or uses Control 1 to show her connection to her god. Fun fact, during the skin's development, her color palette matched her obsidian chroma. Anyway, since she was connected to this god, she had some of its power, and she's the leader of the witches, so it's safe to assume that her god is one of the strongest. You can compare her relationship to this ancient god to her connection with the aspect of justice in her base lore. However, the difference is that Morgana didn't climb up Mount Targon. Her mom, Mahira, did. Mahira is way stronger than both Morgana and Kael. And second, base Morgana doesn't really embrace her divine powers, while Coven Morgana fully taps into her god's dark powers. To me, Coven Morgana is what a leader of aspects would look like. I don't think that the Horned Owl is a stronger than a true Celestial of Justice, but Coven Morgana definitely uses more of her godly power than base Morgana does, and that's why she ranks above her. In this skin line, Morgana and Kael represent two spirits created by the original spirit of Ionia, basically the first karma in Ionian history. Morgana represents the sister who did a bunch of messed up stuff because she wanted to feel human emotions. That caused her to take both benevolent and malevolent spirits, Kami and Azakana, and because of that, she got locked away in a forest and became known as the Mother of the Forest. Fun fact, Spirit Blossom Ash, who was the queen from the Ionian past, not our Runeterra Ash, the person who the skin represents, had her entire kingdom destroyed because Morgana swapped places with her, and all of the Azakana came to the new kingdom and wrecked everything. Because of that mistake, the spirit of Ionia put itself into an eternal cycle of reincarnation, where every time a human vessel dies, the spirit is reborn to keep protecting and watching over everything. So this Morgana isn't just strong, she's literally being watched over and contained by the spirit of Ionia itself. She's kind of like Syndra if you think about it. The reason she's ranked this high is because she has to be insanely powerful. The spirit of Ionia is already super OP, and unlike modern day Ionian vessels who just get blessed by the spirit, she's literally a spirit born from the spirit of Ionia. Even if she's not stronger than the spirit itself, she still has to be crazy powerful. She's created by the Kame and the Azakana, and that's not some small feat. That shaped Ionia's entire history. The sister Morgana represents would be easily the most impactful character in Ionia if she were actually a league champion. I mean, she exists in the lore, but not as a playable character. So yeah, this rank is very well deserved. This skin was Morgana's first post-work skin, and it dropped alongside Divine Sword Irelia, so they're from the same universe. In this universe, Morgana was basically a sorceress queen, who disagreed with what Irelia did to Talon in that world. After Irelia stripped him of his dragon powers and trapped him in a human form, Morgana fought her and won. Unfortunately, Irelia hid Talon's powers, so now Morgana's trying to find a new way to return them to him. In the Chinese version of the skin line, the lore's a bit different. It says Morgana is in love with Talon and fights by his side. You can even see his reflection in the splash art. This universe is insanely strong. It's based on Chinese cultivation novels, and Morgana isn't even immortal. She's a literal god, and she beat Irelia, who's ridiculously powerful, like next level strong. If you read the skin descriptions in this universe, they're basically straight out of cultivation novels. You've got people rewriting reality, being so strong that the planet has to adjust to their energy levels, or else they'll start warping space-time just by existing. Zed in this universe is literally omnipresent and omniscient. Morgana's not even close to his level, but still, she's very strong. She definitely deserves the spot. This Morgana is from the Order and Chaos universe, specifically from the Light and Darkness emissary skins. She's one of the emissaries who fought in the Pure Order, kinda like base Runeterra Kael. She doesn't believe in balance, which is what characters like Yone are after. Yone fights for coexistence between both forces. Morgana, though, believes one side has to win. It's hard to say how strong each emissary is, but we do know Yasuo and Riven are insanely powerful in this universe. They're basically on base Aurelian Souls level. It's also said that the battle between Light and Dark will decide the fate of the universe. So since we're talking about universal scale stuff, not just one world or region, it definitely makes sense why the skins are ranked here. This version of Morgana is the villain of Star Guardian universe. She's this mysterious entity that wants to return the whole universe to a state of entropy, total chaos, darkness, and destruction. She's trying to destroy the Guardians from the inside out. That's what she tried to do with Akali, corrupting her to break the Guardians' trust in each other. You can see in the recall animation where her familiar Hegel, or Heigl, whatever, brings her Akali star. She tries to corrupt it, and it parallels Star Guardian's Akali's recall. Cool little detail. She also appears in the 2022 Star Guardian visual novel as a teacher, basically spying on the Guardians up close in disguise. She's a classic Sailor Moon type villain, older woman, pure chaos vibes. According to the official universe page, her blood type is cosmic, her hobby is cruelty, her favorite food is souffle, and she doesn't have a favorite subject because she's just a guidance counselor. She's also a pro at being a dark queen. This was also one of the first skins to have a reflection effect on her abilities. Her W is like a mirror that reflects anything that crosses it, like champs or projectiles. Wild. Overall, the Star Guardian universe is insanely powerful, like ridiculously ridiculously over the top. If you're a part of it, you're on a universal scale, and Morgana's the villain, so it takes a whole squad of already planet-level guardians just to stand a chance against her. She's not the strongest in the universe though. That title goes to Fiddlesticks, who in this universe is a woman. She used to be a star guardian. Morgana's nowhere near her power, but she's still crazy strong and absolutely deserves this spot. In this skin, Morgana is the spirit of the Lunar Festival who seduces and manipulates the hearts and minds of mortals, monsters, and even divine beings, all to drag them into purgatory where they just disappear forever. This skin came out during Chinese New Year of 2013, along with the skin for Caitlyn and Wukong, since the year was the year of the monkey. And dude, this whole thing is pretty complicated, because it says here that she can manipulate even divine beings, like actual gods, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean the gods in this universe follow the same power scale as gods from the other universes. And the Lunar Festival universe, which is where this Morgana skin comes from, is kinda messy. It follows all that Chinese fantasy stuff that I mentioned back when I talked about the majestic Empress Morgana, but now it's not just inspired by it, it's literally the same thing. There's a hell realm, an earth realm, a heaven realm, a celestial realm, and a mortal realm. People are born mortal and want to ascend into the celestial realm. Dude, it's literally a Chinese soap opera, like same exact thing. There's no real way to know the power level of this specific Morgana. She's from the demonic realm, so we have to look at other power levels from other champions in the skin line and compare. Wukong, for example, is from the divine realm. It says he's a being who ascended to an almost limitless level of power. Like, just look at this dude. And even then, all he does is go around on an endless journey to fight the strongest warriors in history. That means there are people out there who can fight Wukong, a guy who with basically infinite power. That's insane, bro. And considering that's the kind of power the divine beings have, the fact that she's out here manipulating them, yeah, she's seriously strong. No way around it. Like, the skin itself is mid, but in terms of power, she's insane. Unfortunately, those two things have nothing to do with each other. And now, in first place, we've got Morgana's legendary skin from Wild Rift. This one continues the story from her last skin, Lunar Wraith Morgana. Here she ends up regretting what she did as a Wraith and ascends, becoming a powerful empress searching for allies, like Aurelian from this universe. He actually accepts her now and protects her and her court. So she's basically the same as her last skin, just stronger, because she ascended and leveled up even more. And Aurelian is said to be the ancient god of the celestial beasts. It is said that he was moved by Morgana's kindness and chose to serve her. So yeah, Morgana's gotta be something else, bro. No way she's weak after that. And that's basically it, dude. If you don't believe me, just read any Chinese cultivation novel, and you'll come back here saying I was right. That's all. Thanks for watching.